What is going on here? Today we are going to continue our Does It Drift video series where we purchase vehicles in-game, build those cars up to drift spec, and then test those cars rigorously to see if they have the ability to be drift cars. Now today is kind of a fun one because I love the look of this car. It's modeled after a few different cars, of course, but it just has that Z look to it. You might be saying, Black Sheep, you've already done this dang car. What are you doing it for again? Well, we did the upgrade, and although the upgrade did drift, we did this a while ago. So we were doing it under the single gear drifting technique, not the clutch kicking technique. Oh, we're going the wrong way as well. And also today we're going to be keeping this thing stock. Well, not stock, but we're not going to be upgrading it to the aftermarket version. We're going to be keeping it just in this base model version, as seen. We'll mess around with some of the, the wheel settings and stuff like that and see if we can get a good clutch kick out of it. If only you could, well, I mean, manual transmission would be such a main factor to get around this, but if only you could kind of choose the way that the car handled with more control. That's the one big thing we're missing in this customization aspect. So the upgrade is, wow, it's actually pretty affordable, isn't it? Alright, 110%. Undoubtedly, it adds in a little half of a bar of traction, almost a full half a bar of traction to do the upgrade. So we're going to stay away from it. That actually is going to add in a little bit of something to us here. So what can we really do here then is going to be the question. Alright, we're going to be very limited, I can already tell you that. We're going to do the engine upgrade, so that's going to be prime. Oh my goodness, some of these upgrades are just disgusting, really. Okay, we'll do this just to hope it does something for us. I don't think I'm going to go too crazy. I might actually just leave it white in all reality. Some little skirts. Now, skirts and whatnot, sometimes they really do mess with traction. I know they don't mess with traction on that reading, but the Schwarzer, if you have skirts on it, it messes with it a little bit. That, to my knowledge, what I've messed with, just personal experience. I'm not going off of what other people say. Okay, so it looks like if we do add this spoiler on, we're going to get some extra traction, so we're not going to do that either. I'm going to slam it. I'm going to slam it all the way to the ground. Transmission, I got to do it, so yeah, we're looking at quite a hefty little chunk here. The car by itself is $599,000, call it $600K. That engine was pretty expensive, transmission for that. $90,000 just for those two. This is going to be an expensive deal, and we're not even really going to look like it. Windows, we'll get some tinted windows since that's about all we're going to have. Alright, wheels then. We are getting the free wheels now, so maybe we'll try the dashes just to see what they're like, see if they'll help us out at all. And they seem to be one of the slipperiest wheels on the market, these dashes. I think it's just the custom SUVs in general in here, really, when you go into it. But the dashes, they look good. The Cosmos are pretty much the same. The difference between these Cosmos, it's very minimal. I actually kind of like the Cosmos a little better. But yeah, we're going to run the Cosmos. Why not? Alright, that's going to do it for us. That's literally all we can do. Oh, good. It's raining. That's going to at least help us a little bit. So, yeah, I'm actually pretty excited for this. I didn't realize that it affected the traction that much. I hope this helps a little bit. I hope this makes this a driftable car. No, it turned the rain off. That's not current. That's not current. Well, hopefully this thing can still drift, though. That's the real aspect that I'm focused on here. Come on, Spectre. Alright, moment of truth. I always kind of sit one way or another when I get in these cars. I don't have the best feeling about this car, but I have hope just because I've seen how big of a difference that the upgrade has. So let's see what this thing has, huh? Oh man. Alright, I'm not impressed. So it has a really, really weird straightening out thing that I've never seen on any other vehicle. And if you just try to negate the straightening out, the natural straightening out of the car, it throws you into a spin out. I don't know if it is clutch kickable, in all honesty. And yes, obviously we're doing the clutch kicking. I can show you guys if it'll, I can bring it over to like the parking lot and see if it'll single gear drift. I'm sure it will. Single gear drifting is very, very much more forgiving with the vehicle builds. You don't need specific builds to do it, anything like that. It helps to have a specific build, something like this though. I'd say this is actually quite a phenomenal single gear drifter. But we are, we're over the single gear drifting, thankfully, on the channel. We're past the beginner stage. And hopefully if you guys are still on the single gear drifting, you're pretty close to being able to move up to the high speed drifting yourselves. It's a frustrating aspect, but it's crucial. Now this car, yeah, I don't know if this is the one you're gonna, definitely not the one you're gonna want to be learning in. I have most recently jumped on the wagon of the Rapid GT, and I'm pretty sure that's where I'm going to remain. I've also been dabbling on and off with the Comet for quite some time too, but it's just, it's tough. Yeah, this car isn't, it's not a drift car. This is like kind of a car that you just build up and you bring to a car show. It looks so pretty. Now, can it drift? I think like, I've been finding out if you kind of just throw it in the angle and clutch kick, it'll kind of drift. Problem is you can't counter steer it. As soon as you try to counter steer it, it'll oversteer, or yeah, really majorly oversteer, and you go spinning out. See, if you try to throw some severe angle, it's way, like, people think the Banshee is kind of borderline, you know, and like I can say that it's definitely not. It's definitely it's a good drift car. The problem is it's like you need to just focus on that one car. You need to get that car down and not worry about any sports cars. Just get really good in the Banshee. Now, there's an issue with that too. We have pretty much all sports events here on Black Sheep TV, so you're going to limit yourself, and when you do come into a sports event, you're not going to be able to compete all that well. Well, maybe you can. Maybe you're a well-rounded drifter, but I know that I definitely need some time to, you know, acquaint myself to each vehicle that I'm going to be drifting, and especially in competition. Did I just link that? Oh, man. That actually was pretty decent right there with some really high speed. As I said, you know, this car, if you really do dial it in, it's kind of like, I don't know. I don't suggest it, let me just say that, but I can still give it a grade. Now here's the big deal here with Does It Drift, guys. To keep this series around and keep me moving on this thing, I need to judge these things in a different fashion from here on out. And maybe I will bring back older vehicles and see if they work, and see if we can re-review them and get them a more accurate score from this current style of drifting. But currently pretty much take all of the videos up to episode 40 as a single gear drifting style. Now episode 41 and beyond is going to be clutch kicking style on all these, and like I said, we'll maybe bring them back. And I know I definitely need to bring back one episode, and that's Schwarzer versus Rapid GT, where we gave it to the Schwarzer by the first time and really down-talked the Rapid GT. I would definitely like to re-return to that and see where we're at now with those, because, you know, that's a very touchy subject when it comes down to it. Anyways, guys, I think that's pretty much going to do it for us. The cost on this thing is way too high, you know what I mean? So it's $600,000 just to get the car. You're looking at about $120,000 just in the upgrades, with the suspension included in those performance upgrades. I didn't do the bumper, I didn't do the rear bumper, I didn't do anything major. Kept it pretty basic, and because I got the free wheels, even if you had to pay the $8 grand or whatever they are, that's not the expensive part. The expensive part's the car and the upgrade. So realistically, you're in about the $750,000 for this, about $750,000. That's without the upgrade too. If you get the Specter upgrade, it's going to be a different performing car. It's not even going to perform this well. It's going to perform even worse. So in the clutch kicking ability, now in the single gear drifting ability, I don't know. Like I said, I don't think this car is at all a real car that I can, you know, suggest to you guys to go buy. But it might be something that you want to add to your drift garage if you're rich and you don't have it already. So for $750,000, when it comes to the clutch kick ability, I'm giving this thing literally a 2. It doesn't deserve much. Now, don't take this too much as a crazy, like, oh man, it's only going to score 8 or something stupid like that. because this is going to be way different. It's going to be extremely hard for a car to score a 30 out of 30. I don't even know if the Rapid GT or the Schwarzer would be scoring a 30 out of 30 anymore. So this is a different game. This is a different generation. This is a different era on Black Sheep TV. We're trying to transfer over into the more legit, more realistic ways of doing it. And yeah, obviously this car is just not the one that you want to get. I'm only going to give it a 2 on the cost. It's way too expensive for me to be, you know, suggesting by any means. Now, the driftability, I'm going to give it a 3.5. I was almost going to give it a 4. It doesn't quite deserve a 4, a 3.5. Now, can you drift it? Yeah, but you're going to have to spend like 4 or 5 hours figuring out exactly how this thing acts and really have an adaptive brain. And you can drift this thing. As you've seen, I made a really nice little link where I like linked this whole thing, came around this corner, whipped it around, and it was really, really nice and fast. And then as soon as I talked and got a little excited, I spun out. But if you can kind of point it in the angle that you want to go and then clutch kick it when you're in the right RPMs, it'll drift. You know, you just don't touch the toggle until you need to and then kind of let off. And it's just, it's a different game. As I said, this is a different deal here with this car. So the driftability, realistically, guys, I'm only going to give it that 3.5. So it's a 2, a 3.5. That's bringing us into efficiency. Now, for efficiency in drifting, yeah, stancing, absolutely great. You can have this out in free mode. You can stance this thing up easily without it blowing up, and you're going to be good to go. Now, it's the drift part that we had to hit it on over there. So, I mean, inefficiency, without getting too much into the cost and the driftability of it, it's going to score pretty well. There's not anything that I can really smash it on with efficiency. Let me see how it drifts after you smash it into a wall or something a couple times. I know a lot of cars are very temperamental with this. I didn't seem to notice much of a difference there. Let's throw that back end in. Yeah, that's going to make you spin out even more. So, yeah, I mean, efficiency, when you do crash this thing, it's not quite as bad as the Schwarzer appears to be. It's not hopping around quite as much, but I did notice a little bit of the spin out difference there. See what I mean? How you can kind of just like, all I did was just hardly touch the the toggle there. Yeah, I'm going to give it a 7, okay? And I think that's probably being a little bit gracious, but that's on efficiency. It has nothing to do with really a whole lot other than efficiency, okay? It's a big whopping 12.5 for the Specter coming in. And like I said, don't take that too literally. This is literally, you might as well take this as episode 1 of Does It Drift for clutch kicking. We have moved past the single gear drifting on the channel. There's probably not going to be much of that being featured anymore, simply because of the aspect that this looks so much more realistic. I can't argue it anymore that this is more realistic. Man, I did some good little links back there, I'm not going to lie. This car is super, super fast in the drift. It's absolutely crazy. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe the drifting is got to be reanalyzed. Let me take a couple more little laps and I'll see if it has to be reanalyzed. Now I'm dealing with a broken car too. 3.5, 3.5, and 7, okay? Because if you learn how to just clutch kick at the right angle and not touch that dang toggle until you like let off and get it just right, which I haven't figured out how to transfer just right yet. But yeah, this car can drift. It can drift, but it's not the best drifter. Again, if you're a beginner drifter, go with the Schwarzer, go with the Rapid GT. One of those two builds is going to be phenomenal for you. If you're getting bored in GTA drifting and you want to try something new, maybe this is a setup for you to try. Super fast, you'll probably be booking around the corners and really flying around the competition once you get it down, if you can really dial this thing down. Alright guys, so now what is that? That's 7 and 7 and 7, that's 14 then. 14's not too shabby. That's almost scoring 50%, so that's not too bad, especially when I said, like, even the Rapid GT may not be scoring 30. We'll see in the future what we got. Alright guys, so 14 out of 30 for the Specter base model. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Hope you guys enjoy me bringing back this series and trying to make it happen. We'll be viewing all kinds of cars in the future, but long story short, the clutch kicking is very, very limited. You can't do it with many cars in GTA Online, so if a car can't clutch kick, we'll kind of see if it'll single gear drift and go down that whole line as well. But we did single gear drift a few cars that clutch kick very well, and we did not give them any credit for their clutch kicking ability. So we need to bring those back in this series and just kind of re-review them and show you just how good those cars really can be. Appreciate you all tuning in, liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing these videos if you are sharing these videos. As always, guys, stay happy, stay positive, and we will definitely speak to you next time.